to Centre Court with thanks to OMF. Kick back and relax with an adjustable bed from Australian designer known OMF. Watch sport your way. And of course, Cobram Estate, Australia's most awarded extra virgin olive oil, grown, harvested and first cold pressed in Northern Victoria. I'm Bianca Chatfield. Maddie Browne is back and Centre Court is back for another year. We can't wait to join you every single week because Suncorp Super Netball has started, Maddie.
Oh, thank
Round
goodness.
one is done. You must have been excited to get out there, see the netball just hit the court again.
It's the longest off-season ever. I mean, I'm sure the players are like, it's the longest pre-season ever. But for avid fans that are just like, oh, come on, let's get netball back on our screens, we kind of teased with the TGC for a bit and then we had to wait a whole another month to go, all right, now we can finally see some games played for points. But I mean, an interesting round with some results, obviously some big wins, some close wins, some unexpected wins.
Well, you talk about the results. Let's get into the OMF overview. Watch sport your way. Now, we're going to take a look at the ladder. Each week we're going to do this a little bit differently, but at the moment, the ladder, how it stands, you can't help but look right down the bottom of that ladder and think you don't often see Vixens and Fever at the bottom.
Absolutely not. I mean, and both having the biggest losses, which is why they're down there. Fever minus 18 and Vixens losing by 13. I mean, as you said, it's unheard of to see both of those teams low. I mean, it's a small sample size. It's one round. But they were pulled apart in areas where we haven't seen before. And I think the teams that they played had really done their homework. I mean, they weren't coming up against easy beats at all in Thunderbirds and Swifts. But yeah, an interesting way that the ladder stands. And even that middle mix, I mean, Firebirds, everyone had touted them to potentially be maybe some easy beats. They didn't look very well kind of not even coached, but very well trained or
Yes.
coming together at TGC. But wow, when points are on the line, it just shows that it's anyone's ball game in any game.
And I think that's the hardest part about TGC is we see lots of players, different combinations. The coach is really finalising preparations, but we don't actually get to see what they're going to put out there. Really, like they kind of are playing cat and mouse
and it's
with us.
that continuity of having that 7 potentially that, you know, they might have got 10 minutes in a quarter, but then they're there for that full 60 or 45 and you just see how combinations really start to play out and some genius moves by some coaches, I think, on the weekend as well.
And some outstanding players. And we want to get to show you each week who we have put together as our team of the week, the standout players. Now, obviously, this is heavily debated behind the scenes because you could put a few different players in different spots. But for me, a big standout, who's someone who I thought really did show a difference in maturity in their game, was Halita Veve, a wing defence for the Firebirds. She really played a shutdown role for them, especially in that second half. Grace Wecky, Helen Housby, what a combination. It's scary to think how good they could be. And I don't know what you think, but Amy Parmenter for me in the centre, I loved what she did.
Yeah, and I think that's been kind of a missing point for the Mavs last season. Inaugural season, they were finding their feet a little bit, but they really struggled a little bit through that midcourt. And Parmenter, just in that centre, she's so good defensively. I was really impressed by her feeds into Jock. I thought someone who allowed her to play quite a composed game in that centre was Taylor Fraser as well. I really enjoyed the work rate and the creativity she provided in that wing attack position. And obviously Liz Watson in that mix, 150 games. You and I were there for number one. We were there for 150 on the weekend. It's been amazing to see how she's developed not only into an exceptional leader, but player in person as well.
That was the OMF overview. Kick back and relax with an adjustable bed from Australian design and owned OMF. Watch sport your way. Each and every week, we always want to make sure we have an interview for you with someone in and around the teams. And we now want to welcome Sunshine Coast Lightning's Ava Black to the show. Ava, thank you so much for joining us on Centre Court. I know you weren't out there on the weekend, but the Lightning really did start off round one with a bang.
That was so exciting. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, absolutely over the moon. We wanted a really good start and we got it. So we're super excited.
Now, obviously, we're disappointed to not be able to see you out there on court. You did your ACL in the pre-season. Can you talk us through where you're at with the recovery? I know Maddie, she's had to gone through it all herself. Such a tricky time. But how are you going?
I feel like, Maddie, I'm sure you understand, it's good days and bad days. Today's a good day. Yesterday was a shocking day. But I'm 10 weeks post operation, so I'm finally feeling like I can walk normally, somewhat. And the next stage, yeah, for me is to learn how to run again, which sounds crazy to say.
Look, every step and every milestone counts, Ava, so don't be too hard on yourself. Recovery is just not linear, regardless of how you feel. So it's great to hear that you're back walking. That's a tick, that's a start. But I want to talk about your game day involvement. Obviously, you're still very much part of the team. It's hard to mentally be there when you physically can't be, but do you have a specific role that you're playing still to be amongst the group?
Yeah, I feel like it's a tough one for any athlete, but also for a rookie when you're so new into this environment. Those sort of leadership, feedback qualities where the team sort of searches for probably doesn't feel like it's quite there yet because you're so new and fresh and you're also just learning. So I found a lot of mine is definitely coming through more that energy, encouragement, that praise sort of area, which, as you know, can be really difficult sometimes, giving so much positivity when you're also probably not as happy with yourself and where you're at right now. So it's definitely been a challenge, but it's also been something where I've had to navigate a bit better with, being realistic as a rookie where I'm sitting.
So you're 10 weeks post your surgery and, going to games, it was so great to see you there in Melbourne. What are you doing away from the court to try and, keep up other things to obviously not always have to focus on the recovery? Because I can imagine that would be so mentally draining at times.
Definitely. Routine is huge. I love having a bit of structure. So I've really enjoyed whether it's going to get a coffee or having physio, hydrotherapy, everything planned out for my day and my week, where anything else outside of that, if I'm hitting a wall or I'm feeling great, it's a compliment. It's not a must try and include. But yeah, definitely social time's fabulous. I've learned that I've got a little bit of a social battery life now with rehab. This has been nice. I need to go home now. But yeah, structure and routine is just huge, following something.
One of the biggest things is setting yourself little goals along the way. And I did have a look at your socials and you were speaking about reading a book, getting some quotes. What milestones, whether it's obviously in your knee rehab, because you're going to have to tick them along, but talk about the stuff that you're going to kind of achieve outside, because I know that you've got some goals set in that space.
I think for me, I love that mindset, that way of thinking, developing. I love reading self-development books. And I love just really sort of thinking about why I'm thinking the way I do, why other people do as well. So I was always doing this anyway. It's just a matter now being able to share it and, I guess letting other people also have access into my mind and why I'm thinking through hardships or even just joyful times, I guess. So I've definitely felt that that's helped me be able to express how I'm feeling. I just love it, I guess. I feel like I'm a little bit of a nerd in that area where I'll literally love picking out a brain and figuring out why we emotionally do the things we do and, why I'm suffering some days. And then some days I'm like, this is fabulous.
So what's your best recommendation? Or do you have a really good quote right now?
Oh, I said it a little bit earlier at the start, but at the moment, I've got this one and it says, I respect a person who knows their energy is off and keeps their distance because they don't want to transfer it onto you. I don't think people really understand how real that is. And I feel like in that rehab space, obviously you can feel like, this is the pits, this is the worst I've ever felt. And sometimes that energy can be really draining and can almost be like a little bit of a vampire in an environment. And my biggest thing before round one was don't be a vampire, let the girls enjoy this excitement, these preparations. I know what it was like as well, being so excited for your first season. So that was sort of the one that really stuck with me in the last month. I feel like that will be my next sort of rehab post.
Well, we can feel all of that positive energy just through the screen. So you are doing a fabulous job, Ava. Loving it. And love just your insights into how in-depth sometimes we have to go to train our minds to be able to cope with whatever we're presented with. So great work from you. Can you give us an insight into Belinda Reynolds as a coach? Because what really stood out to me in your round one game was just how proactive she was in terms of the changes she was making. We don't know what she's like behind the scenes, but what's she been like, one, for you personally and what you're going through, but also how she approaches the team and what she's going to do this season?
For me, personality is everything. So I feel like you can really tell when someone's a people person and it's so natural for them to just connect with people and build really good relationships. And to me, that's Belinda Reynolds in a nutshell. she's able to connect with you so well off the court that when she requires something of you, or when that humour's not there on court because we're professional, it still comes across the exact same way, and you've built that relationship so well that, yeah, it's just not transferred ugly at all. It's always, smooth sailing in that area. But I feel like she's also someone who's just like not afraid to just make a decision, and she'll reap the repercussions after and like have that conversation with you. But yeah, she will just call it as it is, and she's not afraid to make changes, which I think is brilliant.
Well, it's her second season and it's that continuity, isn't it? That messaging, you're really starting to find who she is and where you sit around her as well. But what were the learnings from the weekend? Because it was good in patches. We saw obviously a Fretwell go to goal shooter. I thought it was a genius move. I was like, oh, look at that. That is amazing. But what did you guys take away from that game, and what are you going to take into round 2?
I feel like biggest thing is variety. And as everybody knows, we have so many fabulous experienced players out there, and probably often the game or the league and the players in general are learning how to defeat those and like catch onto those patterns with some of those experienced players. So having that balance, as well as, if Steph's main position is goal attack, throw her back in GS and play a different role there. But mixing that with the youngsters coming through and just adding variety where people can't have, I guess, a playbook of how they're going to play and how they're going to run. You can challenge it a bit more. That's been a huge focus for us, is just not being so readable. We've got amazing players. Let's just not make it so playbook out there.
And coming up this weekend, it's the first home game for the Sunny Coast Lightning up against the Adelaide Thunderbirds. What's it like to play up there on the Sunny Coast? Because it's a smaller stadium. However, it is always packed. You've got a lot of members. It is so loud. Surely that is going to take you one step further to making sure you beat the Thunderbirds this weekend.
100%. I feel like everyone who's ever played there or even been in the crowd there has always said the same thing. Like, it is 100% an extra person out there, because it's so small and it's very much a little bit of a cage. It just erupts with noise all the time. So that definitely always gets us over the line pretty much. But I think like everyone's also really excited about down here around just Adelaide in general. Like, I think, they've also got so much talent and reigning premiers 2 years in a row. So I think in general, everyone's going to be on their feet for Lightning, but also for Adelaide as well. So I think it's going to be great, both ends.
Well, Ava, thank you so much for joining us on Centre Court. We appreciate your insights and we wish you all the very best for the next few months to come and the recovery, and we cannot wait to see you back out on court soon.
Thank you so much, Bianca and Maddie. Appreciate it.
Well, it's time now to get to the good oil, all thanks to Cobram Estate Australian extra virgin olive oil. Now, we thought one thing that we needed to talk about, and there's been plenty of headlines about 2 sensational players that have come into our league. You'll hear us always talking about the internationals, but it doesn't get much better than Mary Chollock and Grace Wecky. I want to come to you, Mads. What did you make of their first performance in Suncorp Super Netball?
Oh, I mean, well, we've seen them on the international stage, and they showed why they're international superstars. Both of them really focal, strong goal shooters for their teams. I mean, when you can turn and look down court as a feeder, and that's who you see putting their hand up, I mean, winning every single day. I think Chollock took a little bit of time to maybe find her feet, but Wecky just standing nice and tall, especially with Housby and obviously the likes of the feeders in
Verity Simmons,
yes,
like vintage Verity out on the court there at RAC Arena. She knows how to play in that stadium, but it was like she had just come back a complete different player from playing AFLW.
Oh, once again, game stroke by the coaches. I mean, we saw multiple, like you mentioned, Parmenter, Simmons, Fretwell in goal shooter.
Yes.
I love what's been worked on in the off season, and we've really already seen it showcased in round 1 and going, wow, these teams are good, but they can even be so much better. But, now we've got Jamaicans, we've got a Malawi flavour, we've had South Africa, we've got Uganda in the mix now, New Zealand, England, like we've got all the top nations playing in this competition, and we are blessed every week to get them watch them and do their thing. So I love it. I love seeing them here on our shores playing our great game, and can't wait to see what happens in the next couple of rounds.
I know, and you can't help to think that when Cholok finds the accuracy to post, she is going to be one threatening shoot up for the Firebirds. And it was great to see the Firebirds also get their first win, I think, culturally. And it's been a big change and lots going on up there that we don't have all the details about. But I think that is a great way for them to start off a new season and hopefully put all the stuff that's happened behind them.
Absolutely.
Well, that was the good oil. Thanks to Cobram Estate, Australia's most awarded extra virgin olive oil. Grown, harvested and first cold pressed in northern Victoria. Well, this is always my favourite part of the show because I never quite know what Maddie is going to bring to the table for Maddie's Minute, but I always love it. What have you got for us today, Mads?
Well, nothing too controversial in round one happening here, B, but I mean, Mavericks. What a statement, round one, bringing Delta Goodrum into the pre-game entertainment. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to know, all right, who do we need to see as part of our pre-game entertainment factor? Because, wow, people loved it. They had their phones out. They were enjoying the atmosphere. She was absolutely breathtaking sitting on that piano in the middle of a court. I never thought I'd see it, but I love it. And I think, you know what, teams, it's time to ramp up your pre-game entertainment. I want to see some of the world's best artists here on our courts for Suncorp Super Netball. Mavericks, well done. Maybe win the pre-game entertainment and win the game, and then you've got tick, tick, tick all across the board. But a great start, loved it, loved being there and being part of a wonderful atmosphere.
We were like school kids in that as soon as we heard she was rehearsing, we're like running out there to check out her rehearsal while we're meant to be getting ready. But, you know, what a superstar to have. Who do you think we can get next? Taylor Swift, Mavericks? Are we getting Taylor Swift next?
I mean, look, Dua Lipa was out there here. Anyone who's coming to Melbourne, I think, or any of our states for concerts, we need to get onto their managers straight away and we need to say, you know what? I know you've got sold out concerts, but this is where you need to be, Suncorp Super Netball.
Well, we are very excited for a brand new segment. It's called Local Legends and it's thanks to CRT. Farming starts with CRT. Now today we hear from Kiralee and Taylor from the Torquay Tigers Netball Club. Take a listen.
Hi, I'm Kiralee Collins. I play for the Torquay Tigers and I play unpack and centre.
And I'm Taylor and I also play for the Torquay Tigers and I play in defence and goal defence.
Describe your team in 3 words. Passionate, fun and energetic.
What's your pre-game ritual?
I always have to be early to the game and have a red Pink Lady apple.
What's the best pre-game advice you've received?
Probably leave everything out on the court.
What's your hidden talent?
I really thought about this. I can say the 50 states of America in alphabetical order.
Go on.
Yeah, tell them.
We'll give you 5 first time.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.
Yeah. Alright, what's your go-to pump-up song?
Probably Bonkers. I do love the song Bonkers.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream.
What's your game face?
Don't you just love it? I love hearing from the locals that play our game. Now, Maddie, you had some special insights into the Torquay Tigers. You're a specialist coach down there. But we want to encourage you all, if you want to be part of the Local Legends segment, if you want to, we will organise it all for you. We'll tell you exactly what we want you to send in. But get in touch with us because we would love to feature on this. Give us a bit of an insight into what those 2 girls are like.
Oh, like, I mean, you look at them, they're cheeky. Like, have a look at them and they were trying to give some answers. There's plenty of bloopers, which will, I'm sure, as we collate all the teams, we want to hear from everyone around Victoria. There's so many passionate clubs out there. But, yeah, they're funny, they're hardworking. We got pumped on the weekend, but there's only one way to go and that's up.
That's right. Well, that was Local Legends. No matter where you live or what you farm, it starts with CRT. We always have to make sure that we preview a game that is coming up and one that really excites me. When you look at the round 2 fixture, it is this one between the Lightning and the Thunderbirds. To me, this is going to be the match of the round. And have a look, the Lightning have always managed to challenge the Thunderbirds. It doesn't always look like that when you see the success the Thunderbirds have had over the last couple of years. But when there's one team that troubles them, it is the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
I think it comes down to their matchups on court. I mean, you look at the dominance in defence for the Thunderbirds and the prowess down in and experience in attack for the Lightning. And on the weekend, seeing Fretwell in that centre position, I think that is going to change the whole dynamics. It's that short moving circle against obviously a tall, they love that height, they love that elevated game, the Thunderbirds. So having the ball move around with a lot of speed, that could be the answer to kind of pulling them apart and potentially getting that closer post. I love Riley Batcheldor. I've picked her as my one to watch for the season. She doesn't have to have a lot of minutes to have a lot of impact, and we saw that on the weekend. And I think if Belinda Reynolds can continue to work those changes, Bruce didn't have a lot of dominance at all. So when she gets back to a bit more healthy game time and getting her hand on the ball, I mean, they've got so many other areas where they can continue to get better the Lightning, which is scary. But then Thunderbirds, super impressive. It's like, do they ever have an off season? They just continue to pull out these exceptional performances. And that's one thing that they've been so good at is their changes. Yeah. Everyone's a role player. You come on, you do your minutes, you come off, and they kind of win the rotations, they win the game, and they win that kind of team cultural aspect as well, because everyone's like, I'm valued and I want to know what to do. So yeah, first game up in USC Arena, loud crowd like we mentioned before. I'm actually going to tip the Lightning on this one. Yeah.
Yes. Romelda Aiken-George, well done to you. You were phenomenal. I cannot believe, after an injury-plagued off-season, many have ridden you off over the past few years when, you left Firebirds, got over to Adelaide, and look what's happened. Like, it just astounds me every time I see her out there continuing to dominate. So we will watch this space. I agree. I think it's going to be an upset, and the Lightning are going to take this one out too. Well, it's time now for the Struddies Social Scoop. Now, Struddies innovating netball apparel. This week, we have a question from Naoka. Now, this is what she's asking. This is a very interesting question. If the Vixens have a player that is going to step up and take them to a premiership, who is it going to be, Maddie?
Oh, this is such a tough
They needed the whole
one.
team on the weekend, shall we add?
Yeah, I mean, I potentially don't think it's, say, one player in particular. It's been talked about, and I've loved this discussion, they are so good at this style of play of being really frugal with the ball, not throwing it away, working it short, working it sharp. They can play that, but then there's got to be an element of risk-taking and playing with instinct. And because I think this playing group has been together for quite some time, and even under Simone McInnes as well, it's like they've lost the ability to sometimes think in the moment and play what's in front of them rather than going, I know it's meant to go A, B, C. So I do think it's more of a combination of people. Definitely the shooting circle has to fire. When they're not firing, it just shows. I mean, Lily Graham, she comes on and absolutely shoots the lights out to try and keep them in it. But I want to say a defender as well, because they're going to have to get a lot more balls so that the goalers can absolutely star. But yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint one exact person. Do you have anyone in mind, Bea?
Well, no, similar to you. I think a Garbinet shooter, and I think whoever is playing goalkeeper, if that is Rudy Ellis, Maggie Karras, it was her first game, so your expectations on her can't be huge. But what Rudy Ellis needs to be able to do is be a menacing threat down there at goalkeeper. So I think if the two bookends for the Vixens can fire, the rest of the team, the ball will just flow up and down as it needs to.
Saying that as well, one thing that someone who could go back to goalkeeper is a Jo Weston.
100%.
Started as a goalkeeper through junior ranks, has been plagued with some soft tissue injuries and stuff. Is it time to bring her back to goalkeeper, Eddie goal defence, maybe even having a Walters at wing defence?
Yes.
Really, that defence end, I think if they continue to try and band-aid things, that could be a potential upset and a bit kind of dismantling for them. Maybe having continuity in that defence end. Jo Weston to goalkeeper. There you go, there's an answer.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think it's too far away from probably happening for them as well. I mean, Kate Eddy is their best defender, was at Team Girls Cup, was also on the weekend taking the most gains. So you've got to have her across whatever position you need her most, and then everyone else flows around her. So I think Kate Eddy is so
crucial,
undervalued also, isn't she, in how much we probably talk about her, but keep watching Kate Eddy and the impact that she can have, because she's going to drive that defensive end, and she just needs the support around her, I think, to really pull in some more ball to keep the Vixens back. So thank you for your question, Naoka, and be sure to send us yours as well, and we'll try and feature them every single week here on Social Scoop. Now, it's all thanks to Strutty's Netball Apparel, designed for the next generation of superstars. Style meets performance at Strutty's. Struttys.com.au. Well, Maddie, that was our first episode of Centre Court. A big thank you to OMF, Watch Sport Your Way, and Cobram Estate Australian Extra Virgin Olive Oil. We cannot wait to be back after round 2. Enjoy the netball, everyone.